Armstrong, and this is Pointless, the quiz show where the lowest scorers are the biggest winners. To stay in the game, our contestants need to score as few points as possible. They do that by coming up with the answers that everyone else forgets. We've asked all our questions on Pointless to 100 people before the show. All our contestants have to do is find those unknown answers that none of our 100 people gave. So, for example, last show, we gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many countries beginning with the letter C as they could. And we found out that 79 of them said Canada, an obvious answer that would score you a horribly high 79 points. However, only 25 of them said Cambodia, a lesser-known country beginning with C that would score you a respectably low 25 points. Now, occasionally there are even some answers that none of our 100 people could name. So, for example, none of them said the Central African Republic. So that would have been a truly pointless country beginning with C, and that would score you absolutely nothing. Brilliant, that's what you want. If you find any of those, then we will add £250 to today's jackpot. So, let's meet today's players. Sasha and Karina, you're our first pair on the show. Welcome back. It's your second and last chance.
Yeah.
Remind us who you are and how you know each other.
Well, this is my daughter, and I've known her for 31 years. She works with me, and we spend a lot of time together.
Splendid. OK, well, best of luck on today's show. AJ and Anjali, welcome back. It's also your second and final chance on the show. Remind us who you are.
We're brother and sister, and I've known him all my life, and he's known me for 25 years. He's 3 years older.
Very good. Well, best of luck this afternoon. Brenda and Davey, you're our third pair. Welcome to the show. How do you two know each other?
We're also mother and son. We come from East Yorkshire, and we've also known each other 31 years.
Well, very best of luck to you. Jonathan and Stuart, our fourth pair today. You're two-thirds of a triplet. Is that right?
That's right. We were actually born on Christmas Eve, so it's quite a nice Christmas present.
Wow, massive Christmas present, I'd have thought, yeah. And yesterday, you made it through to the head-to-head.
It came close, but trying to go one better today.
Let's hope you do. Well, very best of luck to you. And finally, we've got John and Lee. Welcome to the show. How do you two know each other?
Hi, yeah, we've been friends since primary school. So we went the same primary school, secondary school, so we've known each other for 25 years. 25
years. Brilliant. Well, let's hope that close friendship will see you through to the big money final this afternoon. And there's one final person I need to introduce to you all, and he is the keeper of all the pointless facts and figures. He is my pointless friend. It's Richard. How are you, Richard?
Yeah, I'm very, very well, thank you. As you say, Alexander, I've got all the facts and figures for all the questions we're going to be hearing today. I'll be giving you all the pointless answers, but also all the most obvious answers, the ones you've really got to avoid. And I should point out that you don't know any of the questions we're going to be hearing today or any of the answers. So if you need any help at any point, please,
you're right there.
You know exactly where I am.
Very good. Yesterday's finalists, Keith and Eric, failed to win the jackpot of £4,750. We're adding another £1,000 to today's jackpot, so it stands at £5,750. We really hope someone can win that today. Try and find some pointless answers along the way, and we will add £250 to that amount for each one you find. Let's play Pointless. OK, in the first round, each of you must give me one answer, and you cannot confer with your partner. You'll score 1 point for every one of the 100 people that gave that same answer. And remember, this is pointless. You're trying to find the least well-known answers and score the lowest point possible. If anyone gives me an incorrect answer, they will, I'm afraid, score the maximum of 100 points, so do be careful about that. If you do give an incorrect answer, this will happen. Yeah, exactly. And you don't want that. At the end of the round, your combined score will be totalled up, and the highest scoring pair will be eliminated. Only 2 pairs will make it through to our head-to-head semi-final, so the pressure really is on. OK, our first category is film. So can you all decide in your pairs who's going to go first? OK, whoever's going first, please step up to the podium. We gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many Oscar categories as they could. Richard, can you elaborate on that at all?
Yeah, we're essentially looking for the names of the awards given out at the televised Oscars ceremony. There are 24 of them. Lifetime Achievement Awards don't count, but there's a couple of pointless answers in there in the list.
I've seen a few pointless Oscars in my time, yes. Good, well, good luck. Let's hope you find them. Right, Sasha and Karina, before the show today, you all drew lots, and today it turns out you will be starting us off. Sasha, what are you going to go for?
I think I'm going to go for Best Supporting Actress.
Let's see how many of our 100 people said Best Supporting Actress. It's a correct answer. That means 52 of our 100 people said Best Supporting Actress. OK, Anjali and AJ. Anjali, can you name an Oscar category?
The best makeup.
Best makeup. Very good. Best makeup. Let's see how many of our 100 people said best makeup. Oh, it's good. That's very good. That means 14 of our 100 people said best makeup. Next couple, Davy and Brenda. Davy, can you name an Oscar category?
I'm not sure how low this is going to be, but I'll go for Best Actress.
OK, remember, you want to score as low as possible. Best Actress.
I can't think of any others.
OK, well, let's see how many of our 100 people went for Best Actress. Oh! 85. That means 85 of our 100 people said Best Actress. OK, on to our next pair, Jonathan and Stuart. 85. Davy and Brenda are the current high scorers. What Oscar category can you think of?
The best score.
Let's see how many of our 100 people went with Best Score. Oh! That means 59 of our 100 people. I was a bit disappointed by that. I thought Best Score would be a bit more obscure. OK, on to our final pair, Lee and John. Lee, what are you going to go for?
Best Screenplay.
Best Screenplay. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Best Screenplay. That's very impressive. Only 12 of our 100 said Best Screenplay. OK, we're halfway through the round. Let's see where we are. John and Lee, you're doing incredibly well with a low score of 12. Keep scoring low like that, and you'll definitely be in for the next round. But Brenda and Davy, things aren't looking quite so good for you. You've got the high score of 85. So you've really got to try and find a pointless answer if you possibly can, on the next part of the round, or you could be leaving the show. Now we're going to come back up the line. Can the second players please take their places at the podium? OK, John, your turn. You are currently on 12. 85 is Davy and Brenda. You want to be scoring 72 or less to be certain of staying on in the game. There's the red line. You want to be coming in below that.
I'll try Best Supporting Actor.
OK, we're looking for an obscure Oscar category. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Best Supporting Actor. Well, you're safe. That means 60 of our 100 people went with Best Supporting Actor. That brings your total up to 72. You're definitely through to the next round. Stuart and Jonathan. Stuart, you're currently on 59. Brenda and Davy are our current high scorers on 85. So you want to be scoring 25 or less to be absolutely certain of staying in the game. There's the red line there. That you want to be getting below that to be safe.
I say best director.
Let's see how many of our 100 went with Best Director. Oh! That brings your score up to 130. That means you are the highest scorers, and you do risk going out of the game. Next pair, Brenda and Davy. You're currently on 85. You want to be scoring 44 or less to be absolutely certain of going through to the next round. There's the red line. You want to be coming in below there. Brenda, what are you going to go for?
Best costume wardrobe. I don't know how they define it.
Best costume
Yes.
wardrobe. Let's see how many of our 100 people went with best costume or wardrobe. You're safe. That means 11 of our 100 people went with best costume design, as we're calling it. That brings your total up to 96, and you are definitely safe and through to the next round. How does it feel to be saved by your mum, Davey? Phew-y. OK, on to our next pair. AJ and Anjali, we're looking for an obscure Oscar category. You're already safe, so we're looking for pointless now. What are you going to go for?
I'm going to try best foreign language film.
Best foreign language film. Excellent. Let's see how many of our 100 people went with best foreign language film. Only 10 of our 100 people went with that. That brings your total score up to 24. On to our next pair. Karina and Sasha, you're currently on 52. Our high scorers at the moment are Jonathan and Stuart on 130. You want to be aiming for 77 or less. Karina, can you name an Oscar category?
I'm going to go for best special effects.
Best special effects. Best special effects. Let's see how many of our 100 people said that. Oh, you're safe. That's fantastic. Only 16 of our 100 said that, and that takes your total up to 68. Richard.
Special effects. Well, the actual category is visual effects, but it's the same thing. It's an Oscar for special effects work.
Very good. So, well, that's the end of round one, and the losing pair with a worryingly high score are Jonathan and Stuart. Bad luck, guys. So unfair. You made it through to the head-to-head yesterday. This time, you're out.
That's the way it goes.
First round. Do you think your third triplet brother is sitting at home just going to be yelling at the screen now? Why didn't you pick me? Well, you've been fantastic. Thanks very much for coming on the show. But Richard, if they wanted to stay in, what should they have gone for?
There were actually two pointless answers out there. There was documentary short subject.
Very good.
You get an Oscar for that. And the other pointless answer was sound editing.
Yes.
Sound editing would have got you nothing at all. We've already had two of the top three answers. Stuart gave us Best Director, and Davey, you gave us Best Actress. It's not the hardest job in the world. What do you think the top one was?
What do you think?
Best actor.
Yeah.
It was
Is
indeed Best Actor, yeah, with 97. That would have got you.
Wow.
The worst thing you possibly could have said, the most obvious answer.
Thanks very much, Richard. Jonathan and Stuart, that was your second and final chance on the show. You just didn't have that pointless knowledge, I'm afraid, to get you through to the final. OK, guys, it's round two, and the category is literature. Literature. So can you decide in your pairs who's going to go first and who's going to go second? OK, whoever's going first, please step up to the podium. Now, before we start, remember, Pointless is all about scoring the fewest points possible. So you're looking for those answers that the fewest of our 100 people said. We gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many Mr. Men characters. I said literature. It's literature. As many Mr. Men characters as they could. Can you be more specific, Richard?
These are the 46 original Mr. Men books, written by Roger Hargreaves, the original ones from when we were kids, rather than the ones that our kids read now, which are slightly more blinged up and modern. Mr. Men, not the Little Mrs. books.
Right.
The Mr. Men books. 46 of them, and there are pointless answers on there.
Very good. OK, thanks very much, Richard. Now, remember, Pointless is all about scoring the fewest points. You are looking for the answers that the fewest of our 100 people said. Right, Karina and Sasha, you're first up. Karina, what are you going to go for?
I'll go for Mr. Bump.
Let's see how many of our 100 people went with Mr. Bump. Oh, it's good. 38. That means 38 of our people went with Mr. Bump. On to our next pair, Ange Lee.
Can you go for Mr. Impossible?
Mr. Impossible. Mr. Impossible. OK, well, and remember, if it's wrong, if it's an incorrect answer, you will score the maximum of 100 points. Mr. Impossible. Let's see how many of our 100 people went with him. It's a correct answer. Not many people remember him. Oh, it's good. It's brilliant. Very good. Only 2 out of our 100 people went with Mr. Impossible. Very good. Our next pair, Brenda. Who are you going to go for?
I'm going to go for Mr. Tickle.
Mr. Tickle. I remember him. Let's hope none of our 100 people did. Mr. Tickle. Oh, 46. 46, it's not bad. Let's hope it's good enough. On to our next pair, John and Lee. John, who are you going to go for?
Okay, I'll try Mr. Lazy.
Mr. Lazy. Let's see how many of our 100 people went with Mr. Lazy. Oh, it's good. 10. That means, appropriately enough, only 10 of our 100 people could be bothered to remember Mr. Lazy. OK, well, we're halfway through the round. Let's see how we are doing. AJ and Angeli, you're doing incredibly well with the lowest score of 2. So nearly a pointless there. I think you were robbed. But things aren't looking so good, I'm afraid, for Brenda and Davey with their current high score of 46. They've got to be hoping that on the next pass they score very low indeed. Otherwise, they could be leaving the show. OK, now we're going to come back up the line. Will the second players please take their places at the podium? OK, John and Lee. You scored impressively low in the first one with 10. Brenda and Davey are our current high scorers on 46. To be certain of staying in, you want to be getting below this red line and scoring less than 35. Lee, it's your turn. We're looking for an obscure Mr. Men character. Who are you going to go with?
I can't think of his name. I can't think whether he's messy or untidy. He's like a squiggle.
Oh, is he messy or is he untidy?
I'm going to go for Mr. Messy.
OK, well, let's see how many of our 100 people went with Mr. Messy. Is it the right answer? It is! Oh, it's good. It's very good. 18. Very good. That gives you an impressively low total score of 28. The current high scorers are Brenda and Davey on 46, so you're definitely below that score. You're definitely staying on. Davey, can you save your mum? She helped you out last time.
She did. I think he was an original character, Mr. Topsy-Turvy.
Mr. Topsy-Turvy. I remember him. Mr. Topsy-Turvy. Very good. Very good. That means only 9 of our 100 people remembered Mr. Topsy-Turvy. That takes your total up to 55. In any other game show, that would be a fantastically high score. On this show, that's bad. But the round's not over yet. On to our next pair. AJ.
I'm hoping he's one of the original characters. Mr. Christmas?
We're looking for an original Mr. Men character. Mr. Christmas, you're going to go with. Brenda and Davey, the current high score is on 55. That gives you a target of 52 or less to be absolutely safe. Let's see how many of our 100 people went with Mr. Christmas. You want to be coming in below this red line. Oh, no! Oh, bad luck. Unfortunately, that's a wrong answer, which means that you score the maximum of 100 points, bringing your score up to 102 and making you, I'm sorry to say, the high scorers in this round. Richard, no Mr. Christmas?
Well, there was a Mr. Christmas, AJ, as you probably know, but it wasn't one of the original Mr. Men books. It was a one-off. It wasn't part of the series. It's really, really bad luck.
OK, well, on to our final pair, Sasha and Karina. AJ and Anjali are our current high scorers, as I say, on 102. You want to be scoring 63 or less to be absolutely certain of going on to the next round. Sasha, what are you going to go for?
I should know, being a mum, but I'm not sure if it's right or original. I'm going to say Mr. Greedy.
Mr. Greedy. Let's see how many of our 100 people went with Mr. Greedy. That's a correct answer. Oh, it's good. Could be very good. 25. That means 25 of our 100 people said Mr. Greedy, which brings your total up to 63. Phew, you're safe. So at the end of that round, the losing pair with the highest score are AJ and Anjali. Remember, the aim was to score the lowest points possible. Bad luck. That was really bad luck. Mr. Christmas, you see? That could have been... This happens so often. That could have been.
I'd heard of
pointless.
it, but
yeah.
I just didn't know whether it was in the original ones. I should have probably gone for a safer option, given that Anjali had done so well.
Yeah. You cross with your brother?
She should be.
I will be later on.
You will be later on. Oh, bad luck. Well, you played incredibly well. You got that fantastic score in the first pass. But congratulations. So, Richard, if they wanted to stay in the game, what should they have gone for?
Yeah, that was tough luck. Was there anything else you were tempted by, AJ?
Mr. Fussy and Mr. Uppity.
Yeah, Mr. Fussy and Mr. Uppity, both of those would have seen you safely through. There were a few very, very low ones. There was one pointless answer, and that was Mr. Cool. Mr. Good. Mr. Good, of course, lives in Badland, where all the bad people live, then walks to Goodland and decides to live there. That's the plot.
If I was Mr. Good, I'd stay in Badland.
It's not bad, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, would you?
I think so, yeah. Be the only good guy in Badland.
That's good thinking.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Big
I like
fish
it.
in a small pond.
You'd be the sheriff, essentially, wouldn't you?
Exactly, you would.
And there were loads of very low answers. Mr. Slow, Mr. Uppity, Mr. Rude, Mr. Brave, Mr. Grumble, Mr. Nonsense. They'd have all got you 1 and 2 points. But tough luck.
Well, thanks, Richard. AJ and Anjali, I'm afraid that was your second and final chance on the show. You just didn't have that pointless knowledge, you see. Only 2 pairs will make it through to the head-to-head, so this is your final chance. All of you need to find those low-scoring answers to stay in the game. The round 3 category is... Geography. Yay! Geography. OK, so who's going to go first and who's going to go second?
Yeah.
Right, whoever's going first, please step up to the podium. So we gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many countries of the Commonwealth as they could. Richard, what does that mean?
Yeah, quite simply, any current member of the Commonwealth of Nations, of course, the thing that made this country great. There are 53 countries in the Commonwealth, and 9 of them are pointless. These are the answers that none of our 100 people could remember.
9 of them.
9 of them.
Pointless.
So there's a lot of pointless answers out there. We haven't seen one today.
OK, fancy that. Remember, you need to score the fewest points, so you need to give the answer that the fewest of our 100 people said. Karina and Sasha, you're first up. Karina, what are you going to go with?
I don't know.
A Commonwealth country. Come on, there are millions of them.
Oh, God. Canada.
Canada.
Yes.
Very good. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Canada. It's a correct answer. Oh. 68. 68 of our 100 people said Canada. On to our next pair, Brenda and Davey. Davey, what are you going to go for?
I'm going to play it safe and rely on my mum.
Well, it's helped you out in the past.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Australia.
OK, let's see how many of our 100 people said Australia. Oh, 84. That means 84 of our 100 people said Australia. That puts you in the lead. You don't want to be in the lead in this game. 84, you're our highest scorers. On to our third pair, John and Lee. John, what are you going to go for?
Trying to think of obscure ones, but I can't. It's a risk, but I'll try Montserrat.
Montserrat.
Yeah, but it might...
Oh, let's see how many of our 100 people said Montserrat. Oh, bad luck. Oh, that's incredibly bad luck. It's an incorrect answer, and I'm afraid you scored the maximum possible of 100. Good news for Brenda and Davy. Bad news for John and Lee. Richard, Montserrat.
Yeah, Montserrat, not in the Commonwealth, I'm afraid. It's one of those places that sounds like it is, but it's sort of everywhere sounds like it's in the Commonwealth, doesn't it?
Yeah. Doesn't Sting go and record albums on Montserrat?
Yeah,
I'm
I
pretty
think
sure.
there's the problem.
Yeah. Very good. OK, well, we're halfway through the round. Let's see where we are. Sasha and Karina, you're doing incredibly well with the lowest score of 68. But I'm afraid things aren't looking that good for John and Lee, I'm afraid. I mean, really, you've just got to hope that you score a pointless on the next round and that everyone else scores really high. We're going to come back down the line. Could the second players please take their places at the podium? OK, Lee, remember, it's about the lowest scoring points. You've got to find that really obscure answer to stay in the game. As I say, you are the current front runners. We're looking for countries in the Commonwealth.
Thinking Commonwealth Games, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
Malaysia. Very good. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Malaysia. Very good. You're looking for a pointless, really, to stay in the game. Oh, fantastic! That means only 4 of our 100 people said that, bringing your total up to 104. You are still the front runners, I'm afraid, but you have every chance of being overtaken. Brenda and Davy. Our front runners are Lee and John. They've got the highest score at the moment of 104. To be absolutely safe, you want to be scoring 19 or less. There's the red line you have to get below to be safe. It's down to you. Brenda, help Davy out here.
It's a big risk, but I'm going to say Tonga.
Tonga. Of course, if that's a wrong answer, you will score the maximum 100 points. Tonga. Let's see how many of our 100 people said that. That's a correct answer. It's very good. Look at that. Only 8 of our 100 people said Tonga. That brings your total up to 92. You're definitely in the next round. OK, Sasha and Karina. To be absolutely safe, you want to be getting 35 or less. To be safe, what are you going to go for?
Again, I'm not sure. I'm going to say, as they said, Australia. I'm going to go New Zealand.
We're looking for countries in the Commonwealth. OK, let's see how many of our 100 people said New Zealand. Oh! Bad luck. I'm afraid that means 61 of our 100 people said New Zealand. That takes your total up to 129. So at the end of round 3, the losing pair with the highest score is Sasha and Karina. Bad news for them, great news for John and Lee. You thought you were walking then, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Bad luck. But you looked like you were riding high then, I thought.
Just not our subjects.
No.
Never mind.
Well, it's been wonderful having you on the
Thank
show.
you.
You've been
Had a
fantastic
nice time.
contestants.
Thank you.
So, Richard, what should they have gone with if they wanted to stay in?
Well, as I said, there were 9 pointless answers. So if you've got any of these at home, I have to say full marks to you. You could have had Kiribati, you could have had Mauritius, the Seychelles.
Basically, anywhere the Queen goes on her holiday.
You could also have had St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You could have had Nauru. You could have had Malawi. And there were 3 more. You could also have had Sierra Leone, the Solomon Islands, or Vanuatu. Could have had any of those, would have been pointless. As I say, if you've got any of those at home, congratulations. We've already had, from our contestants, the top 3. Sasha gave us New Zealand, that was 3rd. Karina said Canada, which was 2nd, and Davy gave us Australia, which was top.
Thanks very much, Richard. Well, Sasha and Karina, that was your 2nd and final chance on the show. You just didn't have the pointless knowledge you needed to get through to the final, so I'm afraid we have to say goodbye. But for the remaining 2 pairs, things are about to get even more exciting as we enter the head-to-head. Well done, you've made it through to the head-to-head. Now, only one pair can make it through to today's final and play for today's jackpot, which currently stands at £5,750. Here's how the head-to-head works. You are now allowed to confer. Each team will take turns to give me an answer, and you'll each have an equal number of turns. The first team that accumulates more than 100 points, or the team that goes over 100 by the most, will lose. So, as always, to stay in the game, you want to score as few points as possible by saying the answers that the fewest of our 100 people gave. John and Lee, you performed best over the first 3 rounds, so not only do you get to decide whether or not you go first, you also get to choose the topic. So, you get to choose between Shakespeare and sitcoms.
What were those ones we had before?
Shakespeare and sitcoms.
We'll go for sitcoms, please.
You're going to go with sitcoms? Would you like to go first or second?
First, please. First.
You're going to go first?
Please. Yes, please.
And you're going to go with sitcoms. OK, well, let's play Pointless. We gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many regular characters from Only Fools and Horses as they could. Richard, do you know what I'm going to say?
You ask me for a little bit more detail.
I am. I'm going to ask you for that.
The little bit more detail is this. We're looking for any character who has appeared as in a speaking role in 10 or more episodes of Only Fools and Horses.
OK,
There
thank
are
you.
14 of them.
14.
14 people have been in 10 or more episodes of Only Fools and Horses.
Trying to spot if either of our teams really know they're Only Fools and Horses. OK, remember, you don't want to go over 100, so you want to score the lowest number of points each time. What are those regular characters from Only Fools and Horses that no one else could think of? Lee and John, it's your turn to go first.
Go on, let you go.
Raquel.
Raquel. You're going to go with Raquel. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Raquel. Oh, it's good. OK, John and Lee, your first turn. You've scored 20. Brenda and Davey, what are you going to go for?
Are you going to let me risk it? OK. We think she was in enough episodes. We'll go for Marlene.
OK, 20 is the score you want to be below. Let's see how many of our 100 went for Marlene. OK, after your first turn, you've scored 36. It's pretty close. OK, John and Lee, time for your second go. Just to remind you, we're looking for regular characters from Only Fools and Horses. The more obscure, the better.
Could be a bit of a risk, but we think we're going to go with Mike, the barman.
At the Nag's Head.
Mike, the barman from the Nag's Head. OK, you're currently on 20.
Are you sure?
To remain under 100, you want to be scoring 80 or less. Mike, the barman from the Nag's Head. Well, it's good. It's very good. Look at that. 20 of our 100 people. That's your second 20. Can't fault you on your grouping. That takes your total up to 40. OK, Davey and Brenda, it's your second turn. Your current score is 36. To avoid going over 100, you want to be scoring 64 or less.
Well, we're not sure how many episodes he's been in, but we're going to risk Damien.
Damien. As I say, the more obscure, the better. So it's a good risk to be taking. Let's see how many of our 100 people went with Damien. It's good. Very good. 21, well chosen. That takes your total up to 57. John and Lee, it's your third turn. You are currently on 40. To avoid going over 100, you want to be scoring less than 60. You want to be coming below this red line. We're looking for regular characters from Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah, go.
They have to have been in 10 episodes or more.
Right, we're going to go for Rodney's wife, Cassandra.
Let's see how many of our 100 people said Cassandra. It's good. 37. That takes your total up to 77. OK, Brenda and Davey, it's your third turn. To remain under 100 points, you want to be scoring 43 or less. Who are you going to go with?
Yeah, Mickey.
Mickey. Let's see how many of our 100 people went with Mickey. Well done. Very good. 13. That takes your total up to 70. It's incredibly close, just 7 points in it. Back to John and Lee for your fourth turn. You want to be scoring 23 or less to avoid going over 100. What are those regular characters from Only Fools and Horses that no one else could think of?
Grandad.
You're going to go with Grandad.
Yeah.
Let's see how many of our 100 people went with Grandad. Oh! That is 72. That takes your score up to 149. You're now over 100 points, but Brenda and Davey haven't given their fourth answer, so it's not over yet. Brenda and Davey, to win, you've got to keep below John and Lee's score of 149. That means you want to be scoring 78 or less to be safe.
Okay, so it's one of those
It's going
two.
to be a high one now then, so...
It has to be below 78. That's all it has to be.
Two more characters. Yeah. Uncle Albert.
Uncle Albert.
Yes.
There's the line. It's quite nice and high. Let's hope Uncle Albert comes in below 78. Let's put it to our 100 people and see what they say. It's good! That scores you 57, taking your total up to 127, which, I'm so sorry, John and Lee, that's below your total. It's time for you to go.
Okay.
That was tough. You seem to know your characters, though.
We were struggling a bit, to be honest. We can picture them, but we couldn't think of the names.
Well, you've been fantastic contestants. Thanks very much. So, Richard, what answers should they have gone for if they wanted to stay in?
Well, the three lowest, we had the third lowest already, which was Mickey Pierce. Two which were low, there's Denzel, who's played by Paul Barber, the guy from the Full Monty, who's always in various schemes, and Sid, who was the owner of the cafe and then later on the owner of the Nag's Head, would have got you just 1 point. You can probably imagine what the top three are. Grandad, in fact, was number 3. Number 2, Rodney. Number 1,
Del Boy.
Del Boy, of course it was.
OK, well, thanks very much, Richard. OK, John and Lee, you've wasted one of your chances to get through to the pointless final, and we have to say goodbye to you. But we'll see you next time for a last chance. So congratulations, Brenda and Davey. You've made it through to the end of Pointless. You fought off 4 pairs and won our Pointless trophy. Now you've got a chance to win our Pointless jackpot. Nobody's won the jackpot for the last 3 shows. So at the end of today's show, the jackpot stands at a staggering £5,750. So, the rules are simple. To win the money, all you have to do is something that nobody has done today. That is find a pointless answer that none of our 100 people could think of. First, you must choose a category from these 3 options. You can go for European Football Championships, British actresses, or international flags. How's about that?
I know nothing about football. Very
I know
little
nothing
about British actresses.
Oh, dear.
It depends on what the questions are in relation to international flags. Do you not think you'd be good at that?
No.
No.
I'd rather take British actresses.
Shall we go for that then?
Yes.
Yeah.
British actresses,
please.
OK, you're going to go for British actresses. So, we gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many feature films starring Kate Winslet as they could. Richard.
Yep, Brenda and Davey. This is films starring Kate Winslet, so films for a cinema release where she's credited as an actress. No short films, no TV films, but voice performances do count.
OK, you now have up to 1 minute to come up with 3 answers. All you need to win that £5,750 is for just one of those answers to be pointless. And your 60 seconds start now.
What
No, 2.
Yeah. What are they?
Neverland and Titanic.
Neverland might be a good one. And what was the one you were saying, thinking of someone in a bath?
Someone in a bath?
She was in a bath, but I can't
And that's
think
not
what
one of
the-
those 2?
No.
Try and think, because I'm really not going to help here. Can you think who else was in it? Because I might know from that.
No.
How long
She
ago?
was she was a German officer, I think.
Is it a war film? How long ago?
Quite a recent one.
Who else was in it?
It's this young man in the bathroom.
20 seconds. 15 seconds. Well, we've got 2. You can just make a complete title up. You need to. I think we're about stumped and
Yes.
just go for those 2 and make something else up completely. It could be a film.
OK, your time is up. So what are the 3 Kate Winslet films you're going to nominate?
Neverland,
Neverland,
Titanic.
Titanic.
I can't think of the third.
Make one up.
Make something.
Emma.
And Emma.
Yes.
OK, very good. Let's go with Neverland, Titanic, and Emma. OK, this for £5,750. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Neverland. This has to be a pointless. Oh! Oh, bad luck. That's an incorrect answer. That is not the pointless answer you were looking for. Richard, Neverland.
Yeah, it's exactly the film you were thinking of, and she was in it, but it's called Finding Neverland.
You only have 2 more chances to win today's jackpot. Remember, we are looking for films starring Kate Winslet. Let's hope that none of our 100 people said your next answer, Titanic. Never heard of it. Let's see how many people went with Titanic. Let's hope it's pointless. Oh, dear. 95 people out of our 100 said Titanic. And again, it's not the pointless answer you needed. You only have one final chance to win today's jackpot. I'm just going to remind you how big it is, because it's massive. It's £5,750. You've really got to hope that none of our 100 people said Emma. Remember, we are looking for films starring Kate Winslet. This has to be a pointless answer. Emma. Oh, no! That's such bad luck. I'm afraid that's another incorrect answer. Unfortunately, you didn't manage to find that all-important pointless answer, so you don't win today's jackpot of £5,750, which rolls over onto our next show. However, you do get to take away our pointless trophy. That's such bad luck. You were talking about the one where she was the Nazi prison camp guard.
Yes.
Now, I can't remember what that one's called either.
Right.
Richard, put us out of our misery.
Yeah, the film where she played the Nazi, the film you were thinking of was The Reader, and would have scored you 18 points. It was the second most popular answer. Emma, funnily enough, it did come up, but it was Gwyneth Paltrow was in Emma. There's a lot of pointless answers. You could have Flushed Away, which is the animated film where she's a voice, Holy Smoke, Quills, Kid in King Arthur's Court, Fairies, Plunge the movie, Romance and Cigarettes, The Fox and the Child, and War Game all would have won you £5,750.
Oh, that's such bad luck. But you've been fantastic contestants. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. Thanks very much, and goodbye to you.